Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies here to another question that came across the board. Actually, this came from a conversation that I was having with a Cisco rep, actually. And we were talking about, MACSec, which is layer two encryption, right? So, what is it? When will you use it? Why would you use it? And what's the purpose? So, I do use my titles. So we're going to talk about MACSec here. So this is MACSec. Some people don't have the dash in there, but just think of it as just AKA layer two encryption. Okay. And that's Cisco stuff, right? So what MACSec is basically you have two switches, right? And then we'll have a link between them. And then switch number two. So switch one, switch two, right? And you have this trunk link between them. Now, right now, that data is set in clear text, right? If someone was to Wireshark here or here, they can be able to see the information inside of it. All right, see the information inside the frame. Now, what MACSec does, it actually encrypts the communication via ESP. It encrypts the communication between these switches. So ingress or egress, you'll have encryption here, right? Or egress. And then down here, you will have decryption when it gets on the ingress of the upstream switch or downstream switch. And this is bidirectional. So if I send traffic this way, now this turns into decryption. And this is technically encryption, right? Depending on what the flow of the traffic. So why would you do that? Well, you may have some type of security compliance, some type of regulation or something that says, hey, you need to make sure that no one can Wireshark or tap your network and see the information. Now, this is for stuff that is technically like non-HTTPS. This is already HTTPS traffic is encrypted already, so you're not going to be able to see that, right? It's a tunnel. Unless you're doing SSL decryption somewhere upstream, like at the firewall, you're not going to be able to break this and actually see it, right? So this technology is really for non-encrypted traffic natively. Yeah, natively, all right? So this can be like SQL, this can be SNMP if you're not SNMP or SMTP if you're not using like SMIME or something like that for the email stuff. This stuff would be encrypted here. So if someone tried to actually, Wireshark anywhere in here, they would see a bunch of gobbledygook, right, in the Wireshark. And this is my representation of gobbledygook. So that's what they would see. Now, MACSec is not just a switch-to-switch technology. You can also do it between host and switch, all right? So you can technically run MACSec here, right? And that would encrypt the information from host to switch and from switch to host. So if someone were to Wireshark here, same thing, gobbledygook. All right, wouldn't be able to see it. Now, there's two ways you can do it. You can do it at the port level, or you can do something like 802.1x down here, and ICE can actually push. And ICE is not connected here. I'm just referencing it as something that's being pushed. Can do a MACSec policy, all right? And that MACSec policy is going to be should secure. All right, it's going to be should secure. So when it's should secure, it's going to now initiate that whole key exchange, all that good stuff. And then you'll see the encryption between the two. And then you'll have encryption all the way through from host all the way up to, you can go all the way up to the router, right? Now, what is the key drawback to this? Well, it's really simple. Every device needs to support this to support, right? If you want to have end-to-end encryption, right? At layer 2, right? Because this is going to work on the frame. This is going to work within the frame. So you have to have this from host to switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, switch 4, switch 5, all the way to the router or to the endpoint, sometimes the firewall. Now, I haven't seen a firewall that actually supports MACSec. I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me on that. But so far, I haven't seen one even in the FTDs. I don't think they support MACSec either. So you got to be careful where this is going to run to. You might have this go up to, like, let's say the L2, L3 demarcation point is on a distribution switch. You can have it go all the way up to the distribution switch. You can still technically go all the way up to the router. But again, the one thing that I think you're going to run into an issue with is with the firewall. If that doesn't support MACSec, you kind of break your encryption, right? So it'll be encryption all the way up to the point where it gets near the firewall, and then that one hop before the firewall would be clear text. At that point, if someone were to be able to Wireshark that or do a span port there and then plug something in and actually see the data, you probably got bigger problems than, encryption. You probably have a physical security problem because no random person should be able to plug in to your network. And especially if you're doing things like ICE, nobody should be able, no unknown or unknown user or device should be able to plug into your network at the access layer. That is technically here. So this would have 802.1x on it as well. I'll just say .x. .x on that. But then the back end, like you're at your data center, if someone's in your data center doing span stuff, you have a way bigger problem than encryption or 802.1x. You have a physical security problem, right? First of all, why are they able to get in? How did they get there? Do they have a badge that allows them to get there? How did they get a key to your rack? Why are all the switch ports on your switch enabled for, even if they're blank, nothing plugged into them, they should be all shut down except for ports that are being used. They should be turned on, and security and all that good stuff. But anything that's not being used should be physically turned off or logically turned off. So even if they plugged in, they couldn't do anything. So this was a brief description or overview of what MACSec is, what it's used for, the traffic it's used for. Remember, it is not used for like HTTPS because that's already secure by nature. That's already encrypted by nature. It's for your non-encrypted traffic, right? So non-encrypted traffic that you want to be encrypted to prevent people from able to see it. That's when you would turn on MACSec. Hopefully this video was informative. Thank you and have a nice day.